Oh, me lads, you should have seen us gunning, passing the boats along the road just as they were standing. All the lads and lasses there, all the smiling faces, gunning along the Scotswood Road to see the bleeding races. We went to bleeding races.
Oh, it's back through Bartes!
1962 on a summer's afternoon, we took the bus from Bambras and she was heavy laden. Where we went along Collinwood Street, that's on the road to Bladen. Oh, me lads, you should have seen us gunning, passing the folks along the road just as they were standing. All the lads and lasses there, all with smiling faces, gunning along the Scotswood Road to see the bleeding races.
What's going on, people? Welcome back to another video. John Sinclair TV back again tonight as Fan Forum Show, and I've got some terrific guys in the room. I've got Tony and big up for the first time, Lewis, Chippers, and Mason. Good evening to you guys. How are you doing? You good?
I'm doing fine.
Hello.
Big up, big up. So, guys, if you like the video, like what you see, then you know exactly what to do. Then please hit the like button, and also if you like the channel, like what you see, then please hit subscribe to the channel. Also, if you like to super chat, then click on the $sign. I'm not begging for anything. You just click on what it's worth. And if you like to become a member, then click on the join button as well using your Android and also use your laptop as well, people. So we start with you, Tony. And Tony, we're going to talk about got lots of things to talk about. We're going to talk about, first of all, we get talk about Elliot Anderson, right? I mean, for me personally, every time he plays Newcastle, he looks very impressive. I think he's a decent guy. I think he's going to go a long, long way. But before we talk about Elliot, I've got a couple of messages here. Lewis, I've got you and Tony as well. I love coffee. Hi to you, mate. I hope you're okay. And big up to Gareth, even to you and your wifey, and Jack as well. Big up to Jack, by the way. And he didn't win the ticket, but it was by one number. Unlucky Jack. But next time, mate. Tony, Elliot Anderson. And this guy, I think he's going to be an absolute baller. Him. He's young, 19 years old, and Eddie Howe's nurturing very, very well. How far could this kid go at Newcastle United?
Well, John, it's a good question because this kid can go far, and under Eddie Howe's stewardship as well, he could go really far. He could go all the way at the top. Now, I know he's had a couple of Scotland under 21 caps, but I'm sure, because I'm sure he's born Newcastle, but if he might not be. But the thing is, though, he could.
He is born in Newcastle because when he was playing for the under 23s, but now it's under 21s, I was at the Blue Flames with the academy player. And I was sitting with his parents, and he said he was born in Newcastle, but his granddad was Scottish. That's why he plays for Scotland under 21s. And that.
Right, okay.
So, sorry for putting it in, but I know that part.
No, that's fine. Yeah, so this guy could go away. So, because he hasn't actually played any full Scotland internationals, he's still eligible to play for England. So, if he gets to that stage in his career where he's doing so well for us, and England come knocking on the door and saying, look, rather than playing for Scotland, come play for England, then, we just wait and see what he says on that. But that's a long way down the lane yet, John. He's got to get his career off and running at Newcastle. I mean, we were at the match last week, John. When he came on, he looked really sharp. But I think what I said to you at the end of the game was, John, what should have happened was, because Fraser was so ineffective in that game, Fraser should have come off at half-time, and he should have given Elliot Anderson a full 45 minutes.
I agree.
Throw him on, say, right, there you go. Go and do the business. Do what you can do for 45 minutes. Because when he's coming on half an hour or 20 minutes or whatever, you're not really getting it. You're having an impact as such, but not the massive impact. Because if you're starting it, say you're coming at 70 minutes, so you're missing a chunk of that half. You're only playing the last 20 minutes of it. So you're missing 25 minutes of it. So if you'd had that extra 25 minutes, who knows? We could have quite easily probably gone on and won that game, because he'd done a lot more when he came on in the little time, well, the time he was on, than what Fraser done in the first hour of being on that pitch. Fraser might be full of running, but there was no end product from it. Now, last year I was crying out for Fraser to be played on the left, because that's where he used to play for Eddie Howe down at Bournemouth. And, you know, I used to say that was his better position than being on the right. He's had his chances on the left and he's just not cutting it. We want to go that next level. The Ryan Frasers of this world, unfortunately, are not that next level player.
Great.
I mean, he does try his best, but I would have rather give Elliot Anderson the option of starting that second half and seeing what he could do in 45 minutes. Because not only if you give him 45 minutes, but you're also building up his fitness as well and pace of the Premier League. So 45 minutes is a good little session for Elliot Anderson. And as I said last night, John, on our Premier League show last night, I know if Maxi's fit, and I know a lot of people may think, hang on, why put Maxi on the bench? But the reason I said to put Maxi on the bench was because if he's not fully fit, I wouldn't risk him. I would put Anderson in from the start ahead of Fraser, give Anderson an hour, see what he's done in an hour, and then maybe bring him off and give Maxi the last half hour, just to get Maxi back into fitness and back into the run of things. But see what Anderson can do in an hour. And there's no harm in resting Maxi for an hour, because he's just come back from a tight hamstring. We're presuming he's back on Sunday. We don't know. The same with Bruno. We do not know if they're back at all or not. But, you know, presuming we're hoping they're back. But I don't know about the likes of Mason, Chippers. But what do you think? Would you do that? Start Anderson, give him an hour maybe, and then bring Maxi on for the last half hour?
I
if Maxi's back and fit?
I would.
I don't know. I think the problem is if we unleash Anderson now, it could be a case of, you know, I think it might be too early. I think Howe's managing these expectations rather than starting him, throwing him into a lion's den. If he has a bad game, you know, his confidence goes down and things like that. I think he's just keeping him simmering over, and I think it'll be his time will come, because, like, you know, we've got games coming up, like 3 games in a week, so he will get starts. But I think he's doing the right thing at the minute, just by keeping a lid on him, keeping him on a tight rein, like keeping him on a leash, and then he'll find the right game. He might even wait at the Bournemouth game where you know, I know they've just come off the back of 4 points, but that'll be a game where I'm sure Eddie Howe will be looking at thinking, ooh, you know, 3 points. You might unleash him in them games, but just to see, take your handbrake off and get yourself going. Because I think West Ham's quite a difficult game to possibly start him in. I mean, with what's happened at the weekend for both teams, I think we're going to end up both taking each other out, because we're both annoyed at the VAR stuff and all that. So they might target him if Anderson was playing and try and take him out. So I think what we're doing is the right thing at the minute. We're just, you know, keep him simmering over, and I'm sure it's just similar to what Pep did before, isn't it? They're just keeping him at the right time. So keep him on a tight leash, and then they'll unleash him at some stage. Simple as that.
Yeah, absolutely, man. Got some comments as well. Big up to Jenk, Nicola, Robson. Hi to you both. Jace, Jack again. Your answer has looked great for what we've seen and looks to have full of potential. Gareth, like Elliot Anderson, said, just on my opinion. Chris said Anderson should now be considered above Murphy in the pecking order and get much more game time. 100%, man. 100%.
You know how as you mentioned, Elliot Anderson. At the minute, he played for Scotland under 17s. He's played for England under 19s, and now he's still playing for Scotland under 21s. He has technically played for England.
Do you know what it is, Lewis? Right, I mean, this guy, I mean, if Phil Foden's successful in Man City, I think Elliot could be successful in Newcastle United. And I'll tell you what, he could shock a lot of people.
Yeah, and the benefit is, it's a Geordie. You knows what it means to represent the shirt and the badge.
Yeah.
Because that's what we need. Because obviously there's not many Geordie players coming through. We need the Geordie players. Or not necessarily, we need the younger ones.
Yeah, man.
Get experience playing for the academy. Maybe pushing on. Going on loan to, let's say, other countries. Now, let's say Spain, for example, or France. Get the experience of playing in there, and then come to us. And then the subby, obviously, they know what it means for the club and the badge. And then just go and do what they want. Like, that's what we need, I think.
Ooh, got one more here as well. Got a Ryan as well. Yeah, absolutely. Go on, come on, Lewis.
Like, and I just think, obviously, we need, like, young players who know what it means to wear the badge and the top. Because, as we know, it's the pretty much the heartbeat of the North, like Newcastle and some places of Gates, because I live in Gates. But it's just one of those things. You just need the Geordie players to come through and like represent the club, and like that's what all we need pretty much. Like Shearer, as he does on Match of the Day and that, he obviously he has to be neutral, but obviously he always goes on about Newcastle when he goes on Match of the Day, and he knows what it means for the city and that.
Yeah, absolutely, man. I think he's going to go a long way. He's going destined for the top. I think he's ready for Newcastle. Got Gary, so big up to Gary, by the way. Hope you're okay, mate. Pablo, even lads, hope you're well. I'd love to see some of the players doing a meet and greet in greeting at club shop. We've never seen that under him. Fair dude. Napoli's won by the well. Yes, I do. I hope the title goes so. I really do. Sorry, Chibas. So highlights of Bokota, and he looks shite. Listen, I mean, he's a good player. For me, he's a good player. Watching Milan. If you think Fierce is unaffected, what the hell is Murphy doing? The fact is that Anderson's a lot better player than both of them too. That's and John Boost, by the way. Big up to you, JB. And even lads, Napoli ahead on the 5th minute. Klopp to the ball. Haven't had two dissimilar starts to the season to Chelsea. We all know what happened to Tuchel. Could the same fate come the clock? Never in a million years. They would never, ever sack him. Trust us on that. No. Chris said it's the same about Napoli. Agree with Tony where Maxi's concerned. We can use him as an impact sub. Maxi, probably our best player. If he's fit, he's got to start. Alan, see your point, mate. Bruce is going to Chelsea. Where are you at? Well, can you imagine that? I think Potter would go there. No Geordie players good enough at the minute. Can't play them just because they're Geordies.
Yeah, I do get that as well. Yeah.
Yeah, fair enough. Sean Longstaff speaks to the main by the way. Chelsea have been Graham Potter of Pottershire State at Brighton. I think, Mason, I think he should stay at Brighton for me because at the end of the day, I think he should wake up club like a Liverpool where you get all the time in the world. Newcastle in the years to come, he'll get all the time in the world as well.
Definitely. Obviously, with Potter, don't know why he wants to leave Brighton because he's got a project going on. Bringing the youth in, obviously through the under-23s, under-18s, and abroad. He could do that with Chelsea, but he's got like the quality players, but he'll have to like try and fit the young players in because we all know that Chelsea have got a shit ton of young players, and some of them might need to go, some of them might need to stay if like Graham Potter gets the job. Like obviously they've just sold Billy Gilmore to Brighton.
Yeah.
And that could that bit of business mean that obviously Potter signed him, but does that mean that he could go to Chelsea, he could work, he could stay at Brighton because he's already got a connection with Brighton because he signed Tariq Lamptey, Billy Gilmore, and whoever else he'll want to bring in January from Chelsea. Or he could do the same with Brighton, bring in like bring Lamptey back to Chelsea, bring Robert Sanchez in, because if they sell Mendy, because apparently Mendy's rejected a new contract because he's going to be on the same wages as Kepa, which is 195 grand a week. But if he goes to Chelsea, good luck to him. But he's got a hell of a job to do if he wants to do the same project he did at Brighton. Because if he does, he'll have to sell majority of the experienced players and bring in like young players. Obviously, you got Reece James, but
yeah,
I keep forgetting that's the only young player I know from Chelsea. Obviously, you got Tariq Lamptey, who's went to Brighton, Billy Gilmore. He could bring. You never know. He could bring them back. But I think it's just stupid. They've got loads out on loan, because when they come back in from the loans, he'll have, because he's done it with Brighton, he'll have to check to see if he wants to keep them or if he doesn't. Majority of them are young lads.
But sorry, Mason, can I just put in for a second?
What's that, mate?
Napoli could get possible penalty.
We come on to that one in a minute. Hopefully get it.
Sorry.
What's that?
So, what Mason was saying about Brighton having Chelsea players, there's one player he forgot to mention, and obviously he went part of the Cucurella deal on loan, and that's Levi Colville, the centre half, the young lad who was on loan at Huddersfield last year, who scored the unfortunate own goal to send Nottingham Forest to the Premier League. He's at Brighton on loan as part of that deal for Cucurella.
What I'm going back to as well. Obviously, you need
County Napoli.
Oh, brilliant!
There you go.
You need like what they're going to do with the 25-man squad. Will they have to put one through? Will they have to put one not in? Because you'll have to keep like 3 or 4, but you'll want to play. But you want to have like the experienced ones again, the unexperienced ones again, because he's done it before at Brighton. Obviously, he's bringing Colwell on loan, part of the Cucurella deal. Lamptey and Gilmore. He'll probably look around the world again, because he's that good. Because he's that good of a manager to look for, like especially the South American talent. But the thing is, I've got one solution. I've got a feeling if he gets that Chelsea job, his first main priority signing will be, and I've got a feeling, Moises Caicedo.
Yeah, that's fair enough, Mason. You know what it is, Mason? You come out of your shell, haven't you, my guy? You've stayed for quite a long, haven't you? Mm-hmm. Big up to Mason. How do you think, John? Go on.
John. Can I just say, what's he called? Ben Jacobs is reporting that Graham Potter's agreed to become the Chelsea manager.
That's breaking news.
And Napoli missed the penalty, by the way.
Wow.
Oh.
Zielinski again. Must go be Zielinski. Not good. So Graham Potter's agreed to take over then.
That's what Ben Jacobs was saying. Is he just needs to sign the paperwork, and it'll probably be announced tomorrow.
It's going to be a multi-year contract on Tom Hearn as well, Sam. So we'll see what happens on that. So I'm sure it's going to be a lot of talk you've spoken about this final. We're wishing more the best if he goes there. How's you, John? I think possibly a good appointment, just like how it was for us. Toon, just glad Chelsea haven't knocked on our door for Eddie. It's not going to happen, mate. Don't worry about that. And Klopp's only the clock watcher. He's lucky because Nappy's just with his penalty again. Potter would be mad to leave Brighton. Chelsea supports his challenge. I like coffee. Potter is going to Chelsea, defeats a potential team that could break the top 6. And people are saying they don't understand why Potter will go to Chelsea. Try the facts and multiply his annual wage by around 5 times. Would you not leave your workplace if someone else offered you that? Well, you got it, Christian. How many hundred?
Yeah, I would. But
a lot of people would as well.
But the only problem is, he might complain because they're playing the Champions League. They got the FA Cup, they got the Carabao Cup, and they got the Premier League. He's going to maybe have to play 3 times a week just to get everything in.
Yeah, absolutely. John should bring in a Brighton fan for the reaction for Potter leaving. Well, that'd be a good idea. I think that'd be a good show. Ryan, good evening to you, Ryan, man. I forgot about you, my guy. Elliot Anderson, we're talking about him. Would you say he should be starting games in Newcastle United? Do you think he should start on Sunday?
Evening, lads. Even John. Even Toon. How's it going?
Yeah, not bad, mate.
Up, man. All good. Yeah. I mean, to be honest, like you said, I sort of agree with Toon. I think to rush Maxi back and stuff like that it's not worth it. For some reason, Newcastle's injury throughout the seasons, past and present, I mean, it's mental. It really is. We're getting a lot of injuries and stuff like that. But yeah, Elliot Anderson, a real fan. To be honest, he's been behind the scenes for a while now. We've heard about him going on loan here and there. I think probably time, give him a half, stuff like that, see how he does, start him. Like you say, we've got West Ham on Sunday, a big game. I see no harm in starting him personally. I think it's definitely worth a shout. Where to play him? I know predominantly does he really play on the wing, stuff like that. I don't know if that'll make a difference. Try him out there on that left, see how he does, stuff like that. Kind of personally can't do any worse than Murphy. Yeah, I'd personally give him a run out, 100%.
He plays. He's obviously a tactical midfielder. He also plays left wing. As well.
Yeah, definitely. Then 100%. I haven't seen much of him, to be fair. Like you say, I didn't really catch much of the Palace game. I was at work. Seen the highlights, stuff like that. But yeah, definitely. Just him being there and not going out on loan again shows you how much that Eddie Howe is. I mean, obviously, I know injuries and maybe not getting one or two more players that were wanted in the transfers made him stick around. But if he's there, he rates him. He must rate him. So why not give him a run out, see what he's got?
Yeah, why not? And the thing is, right, he's only 19 years old, Tony, and I'm a massive fan of Elliot Anderson as well. I think he's going to go a long, long way under Eddie Howe. What I like about him, I think he's exciting. I think he's got the right attitude. He tracks back. He's eager, and he's just sort of put a face onto it as well, man.
Yeah, John, hit the nail on the head there. Yeah, he's got everything about him. I mean, yeah, he's definitely better than Murphy, that's for sure. I mean, he showed glimpses of that on Saturday. I mean, like I asked you the question last night, John, I said to you, when Murphy came on, because I had the same thought, but when Murphy came on Saturday, I couldn't see us winning that game. I just thought, well, it's going to be 0-0 now, because what is Murphy going to bring to the table? And you tended to agree with me last night when I asked you that question. Because in my eyes, Murphy is just totally useless. As I say, I would rather we just promote a right winger from the under 23s and let him have a chance, because he could probably do a better job than what Murphy's doing, if I'm honest. Or instead of bringing Murphy on, we should have brought Manquillo on, because Manquillo can cross the ball. Yeah, and he'll probably have done a lot more than what Murphy done, to be fair, on Saturday. Yeah. Or you push Trippier up to right wing and put Manquillo at right back. So there's options there instead of bringing Murphy off the bench. I mean, Eddie Howe must look at that bench and think, oh my God, I've got nobody on there to change a game. Yeah. Whereas I said to you the other day, John, look at Man City against Forest last week. Alvarez came off the bench and scored 2 goals. Who have we got on the bench who can come off and score 2 goals? Nobody.
Really, no one.
No one. Not even Chris Wood.
No.
Oh no. We should have sold him to Watford, by the way, people. We should have got rid of him to Watford because they wanted him. We should have every opportunity to get rid of this guy, sort him out, and then job done. Simple as that. But the bottom line is,
we'd be left without a striker, John. If Isak gets injured, we haven't got another striker then, have we? So you couldn't really get rid of him.
You're gonna have to buy one then. Just make a late offer for someone and just bring that guy in. Do you know what I mean? Still time. There's still time there. But
yeah,
I think with a full squad back, I'm a lot more optimistic about the bench and options and stuff that we've got. 100%. Obviously, with injuries and stuff like that, but like you say, the other week and stuff, it's you look at the bench, it's bare, absolutely bare when we've got a couple of injuries. But when we haven't, really excited. If we
Jesus
keep on with
Christ.
Bears, absolutely, really optimistic about running up to Christmas. All the fixtures, I think we've got a lot of tough games out the way so far. Really optimistic.
Yeah.
If you do see flashes in the background, there is like things happening in Durham. I can see it over there. If you see a bit of light, if you see flashes, it's not fireworks. It's bloody lightning strikes. Just let you know. Just let you know. If you get a bit of a fright.
Fair enough. Yeah, Rob, Brad, welcome to you, man. It's on time no see.
Right.
How's things for you, man?
No, it's been hectic, hasn't it? Just finally back on though. Finally back on.
Big up, mate. And excellent stuff. Yeah, I was just talking about Elliot Anderson, and basically, I think he should start the games now because he's a world apart from Murphy and Frias. He needs to be starting games now. Just give him a run of games, man. And he's got now to lose his ego. He's got passion, and you know what? I quite like this guy.
Yeah, I mean, it's quite impressive coming on. You look at some of the subs we do have available, and on Saturday, he was the guy that actually came on and made an impact. So, and it's not always easy to do, especially for a young player like that. You know, he's not had a huge lot of game time. So, you know, you could tell he was really confident. He came on direct. He was running up players. You know, it was like he had that determination to win the ball and actually try and make something happen, even though because we weren't at our best and really he didn't have much support. So he was down that wing, you know, trying everything against 2 and 3 players, just trying to make something happen, and he nearly did on a couple of occasions. So yeah, very impressive, and the signs are there for him to, you know, slowly ease his way into the squad because he's obviously got something about him. So he just needs to keep that confidence up, and you know, I can imagine him going on to really good things and being a big part of our squad because you always need them players. You need the players that are going to bring something to the table and actually, you know, make an impact. So the more players we've got like him, it's only going to be a good sign for the club moving forward. Especially he's a young local lad as well, so it's perfect. Really, I just hope that we can find that position for him in the team. You know, even if he's out wide, or I know predominantly he's more of a technically minded player, and he can link up the play in the middle. So I'm sure, you know, it would trust Eddie more than anybody to be able to make the right decision on that, and you know he'll slot into the team where's right for the team, and I fully back him to be successful.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, Eddie Howe's going to look after and place him for the right games. I'm sure he's going to be starting cup games against Palace in a couple months' time, and he'll definitely be starting in that game as well. I can tell it. And also as well, I mean, for me personally, right? I mean, that Isak. I was spoke to about Isak as well. Do you think that's a good signing, Isak?
Yeah, no, I think like, you know, to have somebody of that quality, it's probably too. Is it early to comment? Probably yet at the moment. Well, we'll see how it pans out, but you can see by a player what ability they've got, regardless of, you know, whether they're scoring goals or whether they're not, just by what they're doing off the ball and when they get the ball and the intelligence. You can just someone like that, you can see that from a mile off, and he really looks like he's got something about him, especially the calmness and the goals. Well, the two goals he scored against Liverpool, obviously only one counted, but let's be honest, 2 brilliant finishes. So difficult on Saturday because you know, unfortunately, that one-on-one situation, it's a tough one because you can almost think about it too much, and often you see it happen. You see it happen all the time where they're through and you think you've got all the time in the world, and you end up making the wrong decision. And he's just done that on that occasion, which is unfortunate because he could have got himself another goal. He didn't really have much of an opportunity after that. But no, the signs are there. And, you know, he's obviously got a bit of pace about him. Then you know, the movement's good, so hopefully he can be a player that he's a young player. So let's hope that he can stay fit and he's not going to pick up any injuries. You know, that's unfortunately the problem with Callum Wilson. So let's hope in Isak we've got somebody reliable who can on a regular basis be a goal threat, and you know, I'd get that person who can get us, you know, a consistent amount of goals, like, you know, getting over 12 and that sort of numbers. So No, I think obviously he's a huge investment for the club, but they obviously feel like it's the right one. Done a lot of homework on the player. Eddie's clearly very keen on him and wanted to bring him into the side. So yeah, no, I think it's a brilliant signing and one that could prove out to be a real long term option that he's going to pay off for the club, because let's look at 22 years of age. He's hopefully he's going to be here for a long time. So no, very pleased with that one, to be fair.
Yeah, absolutely. I think he's going to be a decent player. I've been championing this guy to come to Newcastle, and I got laughed at. And here he is. He's here. He's my baller. He's my player. He's my guy. What's the crack at Adam Pearson cancelling his appearance in Mouth on the Times channel? John, you should get Adam Pearson on your channel. He's guaranteed views. Christian, he's been on my channels lots of times. I've got to try and get him to come on either Saturday. If I can try and get him on Saturday, I'll try and get him on then. And
Napoli's just scored 2-0.
Brilliant. That trophy's going to Italy. This Champions League's going to Italy this season. Trust us. It's
only the first round of games, man. Yeah. John, you are.
I told you it's the world. It's a better league. This is not the corrupt league. This is not a corrupt leach like the Premier League.
I do know. You
know what I mean?
Yeah. The wild doing for match fixing a few years ago.
Who's going to watch the Man United game tomorrow? See if Dubravka could actually play or not.
John's going, man. John's going. He's got a ticket, haven't you?
Ryan's gone, by the way.
John, I got the result last night when I said Celtic would lose 3-0.
Oh.
Oh, wow.
I did say to you on the Premier League show last night, I says 3-0 Madrid, and you went, oh no, they're not win that many.
Could be more, to be honest. I think Madrid were just taking the mick out of them.
Talking about them.
Modric had something nice to say though, didn't he, about Celtic? He said, we've won here tonight, he says, but what a lovely ground to be at in a brilliant crowd.
It is when you go and win 3-0, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly. Keep them quiet.
I was watching the Celtic game yesterday, but also at 3 o'clock I did watch the youth game. Obviously, the youth version of the Champions League. It was, excuse the French here, it was absolutely pissing it down of rain. Literally, the pitch was flooding.
Wow. I'll tell you exactly, man. Well,
so John, where are you sitting? John, are you in the Stretford then tomorrow night, are you?
The Salix stand.
Stand. Shut up. Nothing's been to
He's not even denying it.
Hospitality.
He's getting a prawn sandwich. Prawn sarnie, isn't it?
I love a prawn sandwich, especially from Boots.
Wow. Yeah, look, you say, I'd say no more, man. But Napoli could have been 4-0 up, by the way. Big up to Napoli, by the way. They're having a fantastic season so far, by the way, in the Italian league. But Chippers, your mate Isak as well. I mean, Bad's made a good point.
Mate? Well, I don't really know him, Mike. He's not my mate, but
come on,
don't really know him, Mike. I mean, it's not as if I've got him on WhatsApp or anything or Snapchat, you know.
Wow.
Yeah, I just thought the criticism he got on Saturday for missing that chance was a bit over the top, and I think people need to realise it was only his second game. So, I mean, Jesus Christ on a bike. You can't just in hindsight he should have scored, but we aren't the £58 million striker who was in that situation, so we can't really slag him off.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
Well, look, Haaland, he missed a chance against us when he blazed it over the bar. So all good strikers miss chances.
Yep.
And remember, he's only 22 as well. Remember that he's only 22.
You know what I'd be more worried about? The fact that he created the chance on his own and no one supplied him. That's what I'd be more worried about.
And plus he's getting used to the Premier League as well.
Exactly. It's going to take him time. I mean, he's a big unit, by the way. He's quick, and he's got a good touch on, by the way. I think this guy, for me, is going to score at least 15 goals this season. I'll make a prediction right now. So, 15 goals for him.
Yeah, I said about
Well,
I said
being
about
at the
4.
match on,
Like, go on. I'll let you speak first.
Go on, Tony.
being at the match on Saturday, John, yeah, you really do see how tall he is when he's standing there. And I tell you what else I liked about him as well, because obviously, like I say, I was in the east corner, but when we got a corner at the Leazer's end, he actually got in front of the Leazer's end and started doing this to the crowd, as if to say, "Come on."
Yeah, exactly. I've noticed that as well. And I'll tell you what as well, I mean, he is absolutely brilliant. He will be brilliant. But getting used to the crowd, and he gets us. He totally gets us, man.
Like, that's the thing I've said, where I said, because me and Mason's both sitting in the same part of the stadium. Mason just sits further along from me. We're both sitting on the Leazer's end. And my God, some of the players, like Dan Byrne and Alexander, my God, they're quite tall. we got quite tall team now.
Yeah, absolutely. I was going to say, Tony. I mean, we do need Bruno back, do we? I mean, he missed a couple of games. I mean, for me personally, I think it's a big miss, and we need him in that midfield ASAP. Because Joel Linton, I think he's been outstanding this season. By the way, he just cannot do it all by himself.
No, you can't. You can see he's trying to do everything in that midfield. I mean, Longstaff had a stinker on Saturday. It was crying out for Bruno in the middle. But, we were crying out for a Madison in the middle, if I'm honest, because we just needed that. We needed that bit of quality to unlock their defence. But yeah, we're definitely missing Bruno. And hopefully he's back on Sunday. And I'll tell you what, it'll be a great battle on Saturday. Bruno versus Paqueta. And
Bruno just going to put it.
Can't wait to see that battle commence. But yeah, I mean, on Saturday, like I say, Longstaff was absolutely woeful. He had a good game against Liverpool, but then poor on Saturday. Maybe again, might have been a bit of fatigue, I don't know, but it would be nice to see Longstaff get back to the player he was under Rafa Benitez, but whether he can get back to that, because remember, he had 2 years under Steve Bruce, who hardly played him, and his career just went backwards under him. So when you think, in a way, he's probably lost 2 years out of his career being stagnated because of Steve Bruce.
Absolutely. And you know what it is, right? I mean, we need him back for every. So, we lost 2. We lost Chip Az, and we lost in Lewis as well, but they'll be back soon, 100%. But I was just about to say, right, as well, that we touched on, you said you need a Bruno. We need it as well.
Sorry about that, my camera froze.
No, I'll let you off the stand. Don't do it again, my guy.
It's not my fault, it's my laptop.
Yeah, let you off. And I was going to say, I'll get Chippo's back Sam back as well. Yeah, I was going to say, just got one as well. Drink, no problem here. No, it's just saying about as well, when we talked about Bruno, I mean, Joel Linton again, I'll go with you, Mason. He's having an outstanding season for us again, but again, he can't do it by himself. That is the problem.
Well, yeah. Obviously, I think he struggles a bit at times because he hasn't got Bruno with him, because I think he works predominantly. He's been done well this season, but I think he's missing Bruno. Because I think Longstaff, I think he's not going to. If Eddie Howe goes and plays with Elliot Anderson, Bruno, and Joel Linton, we've got a decent midfielder, 3 midfielders.
And then also with Paqueta up front as well. It'd be like, bloody hell, what a team that will be.
And then I think if somehow Bruno gets injured, we need to have cover, because, like, when in January, and if he has another injury, you'll need to get a better midfielder. I know we've been linked with midfielders in the past, but January's good for a loan from like a top 6. If a midfielder gets injured, or somehow we sell Shelby, for example. We should get a player in on loan from like a top 6 team who is ready to break through. Give them 6 months to prove themselves, and if they do well. But the thing is, we just don't want. If we get a loan, we don't need to be another Willock. We don't need loans again who aren't going to progress or be better than the loan, because look at Willock and look at Kennedy. 2 players two top 6 players we've had in on loan. Done really well. And then look, the only decent player who I had on loan recently, Dubravka.
Can't be here, chip ass man. How are we?
We could hear.
Sorry, I was just talking to my mum.
That's nice. I'll let you off this, your mum. I've got some more comments to by the way. Can't fault Joel in the season, but it's clear we need Boone next to him. Klopp will be the next manager out the door if he's not careful. Liverpool have flat-out deceived so far this season. They're still doing against Napoli as well. Good job, Joel Lynch's been great. Madison's on the one target. Don't forget, there might be more transfer targets after the World Cup than Madison. Can't fault Joel Lynch in the season, but clear. Pickford is out for 4 weeks. Sorry, yep. Jack, you're right there, by the way. We need Boone next to him. Pickford's out 3 to 4 weeks. Wolves could be
dinosaur up your arms.
What's that?
Pickford dinosaur arms.
Yeah. Out for a month. Wolves could be in Diego Costa. Yes, there you go. Yeah, I was going to say, the transfer window's over, right? And we're after names again. I don't know why we're talking about transfers, by the way, because transfers over, Tony.
Yeah, exactly. It's window's closed now till January, and it's focusing on football now. So we keep seeming to be linked with players, but we just got to wait till January now, and it'll all start again, and we'll probably be linked with about 500-600 players through January, no doubt. Everybody will be watching the World Cup, and people will be putting on. It'll be all over Twitter. Oh, look, Newcastle should buy this player, it's just absolutely madness. And Mason saying like get a loan player from top 6. Well, unfortunately, top 6 don't really want to do business with us. In fact, none of them in the Premier League want to do business with us, if I'm honest. I mean, look, when we went for Ainsley Maitland-Niles from Arsenal, the guy wanted to join on deadline day. Arsenal said no and sent him to Southampton instead. That's a clear message. They do not want to do business with us. And you know what? That's fine. Because if they don't want to do business with us, stuff them. We'll look abroad and we'll bring somebody in from abroad. If that's how they want to play it. And the thing is, you can get some better deals abroad than you can in this country.
And then we'll have to try and look like for a top-sized league in Europe, and who's played in Europe as well, because with the new requirements for visas for players, how long did it take to get Alexander's visa issued? It took forever. That's the problem when we get players now. We have to, when the guys want to play in England or the UK now, they have to get a visa to play now.
Yeah, that's a good shout, because you're not in the union anymore, Lewis, aren't we? So it's going to take time for a visa to come through the door.
Can I ask one question? If we get paid from Switzerland, because that's not part of the EU.
Yeah, that's a possibility, man. That's a possibility. It's like in South America, sort of thing. Like South America, that's going to be a problem.
Oh my God! Sorry to put it in. Napoli 3-0 up.
Wow. Bloody brilliant.
I know this about Newcastle, but it's just funny laughing at Liverpool.
Yeah, they're in a mess.
That's a shame, isn't it?
It is a shame.
Poor Jurgen Klopp, not.
What's he going to play tonight? What's he going to play tonight? Is he going to play in the grass? The grass for being green on.
I know, we should have done, shouldn't we?
Wow, exactly.
You might say the grass isn't green enough.
Yeah,
exactly. Or Naples is too big for him, man.
Oh, what a goal! That's a class goal.
there's actually people on social media actually saying Klopp, they won't Klopp out.
Oh, boo-hoo!
Poor defending by Joe Gomez as well.
Wow. We'd love to go through his comments. Generally, with their players who has to be World Cup stars for a change, we'll be able to find one or two money left in the pot. That's Alan. Big up to David. I've seen in the chat, mate. You'd love to see Klopp to be shown the door. And I get what you mean, John. Klopp gets sacked after it turns out to be funny. 3-0 to Napoli. Sleepless Liverpool, let's score. Yes. And Hola wins absolutely now. We're already playing this season. They're going to win now as well. Let's go
to Liverpool.
Yeah, that's a good move there. Go on, Brad. Brad, we talked to you as well. Do you think if they don't do business in Newcastle, should Newcastle do business with them? In your opinion?
I think if, like the Dubravka situation, if there's a player that doesn't want to be there and that club want them, then I would say yes. We don't necessarily have to do business with them, unless. I think our best bet's looking abroad for players, to be honest, and I think that's going to be the strategy we're going to have to go with. Unfortunately, I'm guessing there's going to be situations where we will be in the running to get a player, just because. Possibly is Maddison going to be available in January for us if we're willing to pay the money? Nobody else is, unless they need to sell. Then that might be an option, and then. But then I think on the whole, I think if there's situations in the Premier League where there's a player that's in form and in demand, I can't see them, and we're interested in that player. I can't see the selling club really playing ball with us, to be honest. Over if there was 2 or 3 other clubs involved, we'd be the ones find it the most difficult to do a deal, and the price would obviously be more, the negotiations would be harder. So it all depends on that. Sometimes I think the answer for that is if there's a situation where the player really wants to leave and it's disrupting the club, whether that's going in or whether that's someone coming in or someone leaving the club, then probably. But if not, I think it'd be difficult to do deals in the Premier League that way. So anyone up and coming talent and it's still going to be difficult looking abroad, but I think that's going to be our best bet because clubs are going to be more likely to do business with us. There is clubs out there that will do business with us. Like the French clubs, we got there with Lille.
Mm-hmm.
So at the end of the day, the clubs like that, they need some of these players that come available for 35, 40 million. They really need that money. So if someone like Newcastle come knocking at the door and want to pay that, they're going to accept it. They're going to accept it. So I think that's the road we're going to go down, and there's no reason why we can't have success doing it that way. Because at the end of the day, the Premier League's not the be all and end all. There's particularly you're gonna pay more anyways for them type of deals. So I think the best value we're going to look at. You look at the French league. The German market isn't one we tend to go into, but there's players there as well. So just be clever. You be clever about it, and you can pick up some players. Let's be honest, they'll be worth double for the ability. They'll be worth double in the Premier League easily. So you just need to find them. Yeah,
Jude Bellingham. He'll be Liverpool bound next season. I can say that.
I think as well. But I think as well, you've got to be clever in. No, the club aren't silly. They're going to be identifying players for 6 months. Who we're going to buy next summer? What position we're going to look to strengthen? So, that's all planned out with certain lists of targets. So, and then it gives us a lot of time to be able to weigh up and look at these types of players. But yeah, in my opinion, don't get us wrong. In the Premier League, players like James Maddison for 50, 60 million, no brainer because he's an absolute brilliant player. Some players you look at, they're largely overpriced, but there's some real talent in the European leagues where you pay 10 or 15 million pound, and in Premier League terms, they're probably like 40, 50 million pound players, just because they go under the radar. But you know, with the right people in place that we've got at the club now, we can identify these targets and try and get ahead of the game before other clubs are, and try and get them in.
Thing is, Brad. Sorry, John. Thing is, Brad. If you see, I know about Madison. We offered 50 million for him in the summer, but come January, he's got 18 months left on his contract.
Well,
and they're going to want, and 50 million is going to be far too much for a player of that. The same with Tielemans. We offered 25 million pound on the last day of the transfer window, and no movement from Leicester. Now he'll go for free next summer because a club from abroad from January, you can see, right, there's a pre-contract agreement.
Yeah.
Now Leicester's dropped a bollock there, in my opinion, because they could have 25 million.
Yeah.
And if Leicester are struggling in the bottom three in January, we could go in with, say, 30 million for Madison because he's only got 18 months left on his deal. You wouldn't pay 50 million pounds for a player who's got 18 months left.
No chance. They're not going to get that now, and they're going to be lucky to get what, 30 million pound for him in January. So
I don't know.
Yeah,
we'll have to be careful because we don't want to get fucked over by other teams because they know we have the money.
No,
we're going to get scammed out of every penny we have.
Yeah, but for Madison, for me, in the transfer window just gone, I think 50, maybe even over 50 million would have been a good deal to be done, and Leicester would have. I mean, let's be honest, Leicester would have been even more of a struggle and position going forward now, but they'd have 50, 60 million in the bank. You know, well, say probably not. Well, if reported to be believed, we're going to pay that money up front. So you never know if that was something that was appealing to Leicester. Obviously, they're going down the route of, well, he's better off in our team, so we'll keep him. But then, like you say, Tony, in January, they're not in a strong position to negotiate a huge fee. So Madison and Tielemans, you know, they're not, the next couple of years, they aren't going to be Leicester players. No, that's a guarantee that they're not going to be playing for Leicester. So the case of that should have been, right, well, what's the maximum amount of money we can actually get for them? But they're just going down the route of, well, Tielemans is going to let his contract run down, and Madison, if he signs a new deal, probably the possibilities of that quite low. And then, but no, I think in January we're in a strong position to be able to stand up and say, well, we're willing to give you still 30 million possibly, and then, you know, are they going to accept that? You would like to think they would, to try and invest that money back, and you know they could be in a struggling position in the league by then. You just don't know. So we'll see.
Absolutely. Liverpool struggling. Chelsea are struggling. Right? United are picking themselves together. You know what I mean?
Who?
But if Newcastle get their act together, you know.
This is the thing. If we got them points, you know what's been given against us, we could be fifth in the league.
Exactly.
John can't come in.
Yeah, go for it, man.
It's just, obviously we mentioned Jude Bellingham earlier on, but there's a lad who was starting to break through at Dortmund who was actually from London in the name of Jamie Byung Ginnens. I mean, this could be his breakthrough season, but if he does really well, I would give him a shout next season.
Yeah. We'd check out his name, man. We're definitely going to check out his name.
It's been good. It's like, but it's them cases like you look at Jude Bellingham now. You know that it's like Haaland as well. These players they're touted up by the big clubs, and you know in the next couple of years, Jude Bellingham's going to be at Madrid or Liverpool. You know, he's virtually nailed on because you know them deals, the agents and the players, they know that's going to happen. So it's already essentially lined up, but. You know, if we get ahead of the game and identify some of these targets, you know that's what we need to be doing. And there's like I said before, there's some huge talent out there that often goes unnoticed by the majority of people. So there's some, even if we're looking at wingers and identifying targets like that, we know a good defensive midfielder. You know, there's plenty similar abilities. Players that are talking like Morgan Gibbs-White going for 40 or 50 million. You can pick up, no disrespect to the guy because I think he's a decent player, but you go in the German league and anywhere like that, there's a lot of players of similar ability, that wouldn't be anywhere near that sort of transfer fee. So yeah. it's but that's always been the case, and you'll always pay more for English players and that sort of thing. And Nottingham Forest were in a position where they really wanted him, and they're willing to pay that money. So unfortunately, it just sort of inflates that price. But no, it's in my opinion, I think the longer term strategy is that the club will understand that we can do deals abroad and try and build relationships with clubs in Europe.
Yeah, good point. Akwiza looks a good player. He does look a good player. He can break from midfield as a dribbler. He can pass the ball. He's a 7 out of 10 player. I think this guy is going to be absolutely mint in the town of football. He's perfect for Serie A. Yeah. Perfect.
He played for Fulham, didn't he?
He did. Class player.
A season, yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah. Beautiful player. Beautiful player. And just John, people will bring on a conspiracy theory. He's going to talk about it in a bit, Paul, by the way. Saturday in the morning, that's coffee. I like coffee, but if God gets that, you watch Liverpool fans on Gerrard, they'd be screaming for him, by the way. I won't be surprised. Palace will beat Man U on Sunday. Tuchel may get Klopp's job. Steady John. Yeah, we're all saying United, by the way, but we know which one it is. Tuchel to Liverpool, Klopp to Chelsea. Jobs, club swap, Spurs 0, Marseille 0 at half time.
I bet Tuchel will go to Leipzig, I bet Tuchel will go to Leipzig.
I would not be surprised. Would not be surprised as well. Happy birthday to you, mate, and hope you have a happy returns, mate. We're gonna, if you do like the video, like what you see, guys, then please hit the like button. Also hit the subscribe button as well if you are new. If you'd like to super chat, click on the join or on the $sign, sorry. And if you'd like to become a member, click on the join button as well. And we're now going to talk about VAR. How exciting!
Oh, for God's sake, this bloody thing! I know we've talked about
it's Tony's topic. It's Tony's topic.
I know, but like, it's one of those things. Every you got fan hates it at the minute.
No, we got to talk about it, mate. We're gonna have to talk about it. But
I know.
But we're gonna start with Tony. All right. I mean, Tony's. What I'll do, I'll start with Chipaz first because maybe it's 10 now. I'll go to Tony. Chipaz, you're taking this VAR business. I mean, it's getting to be on the joke.
It's quite obvious there's a vendetta against us, isn't it? It's quite obvious because it seems to be happening in our games every week. It's been happening since the Brighton game, so I can't see how people can say it isn't or deny this when 5 of the 6 games in a row where we've had decisions that have been absolutely shite, and it's cost us points at the end of the day because the lads are trying like hell. They're doing everything they can, but again, when you're being done over by, who's that? Is that you, John?
Yeah, it's just.
It's his woman checking up on him.
I bet it isn't all. It's that Man United fan. What I was saying is it's just every week it's happening, and I expect it to happen again on Sunday. Unfortunately, I expect us to get dealt out with a result on Sunday. It's just, it's a joke that they seem to say one thing and we see another, and the thing they say is the thing that is quite obvious, what not what you're supposed to see. So, and I personally think when referees retire, like they have been, like Lee Mays, John, pay attention to us, man. You're looking at your phone, man. You're looking at your phone, man. But I think once referees retire, like Mike Dean has, like Lee Mason has, they shouldn't be given the option of VAR officiating. They should just be retired and moved on completely. And I think then the day, I think as well, the FA should be starting to recruit VAR officials as well as referees, because there's people who don't want to be referees but who may want to be VAR officials. It's for me, it's just I'm sick of it.
I mean, for me, my
sorry
opinion,
about that. Did you hear that rumble in the background?
No.
I
thought it as well, so I didn't hear anything.
Thanks for that information.
I'm going to close my window because I think there might be some rain coming, by the way.
Okay, carry on, man. No, I was just saying, Chibas, I mean, from my opinion, I don't think it's a problem for VAR, but it's the people running it, in my opinion.
That's it.
Because
the people running it, like I'm saying, though. Like I'm saying, like Mike Dean and Lee Mason are not good enough officials. So why have they been given the choice to? Why have they been given the choice to be VAR judges as well when they shouldn't be. As soon as they said they're walking away, retire them, get them out of the way, and get fresher people in. Even if it means if they're just VAR officials, not referees, fair enough. But get them out of the way. You can't have them still there because it's still like the old times. It's ridiculous. You need to move with the times, and they're not doing it. They're just sticking with old shite.
And
Exactly.
like I think this should be Mike Dean should not referee Everton games or Liverpool games because he's from Liverpool.
Yeah, that's supposed to. If he's supposed to report it, he cannot referee Liverpool
He's
games.
supposed to Tammy Rovers, but still he's from the Liverpool area. Like when we played Liverpool last season, he got away with one of our players, and Liverpool scored him with a bloody goal as bloody per usual.
Yeah, it's crazy, man. It's just like, I mean, I've seen Andy Taylor, referee. He's a Manchester referee. Ref the Manchester City match against Arsenal last season. Tony, it's your topic as well, mate. I know you want to talk about it. Well, take it away, mate, basically.
Well, so John, VAR, yeah, well, if it's used correctly, it works wonders. That is the problem. It's not used correctly in the Premier League because, as I've said previously, you don't hear of incidents in Spain, France, Germany, Portugal, anywhere in the world, VAR or Germany, you don't hear any bad refereeing decisions. You don't hear about controversial VAR decisions because these countries use it properly, but we don't. Now, in America, where Howard Webb's in charge of the referees, and he has what he calls a VAR manager as well. So this is what I found out, apparently. Now, on a Wednesday, they have a weekly show.
On YouTube?
And Howard Webb and this VAR manager go on this show, do this weekly show. And they talk through the decisions they've made and what VAR's come up with. And they explain the decisions of how VAR's come to this decision. And it's very rare that they have any bad decisions. It's very rare that they have any bad decisions with the VAR over there. Now, that would be something that would be lovely here if we could do that, but there is no chance whatsoever of a VAR decision being put out on TV and reviewed as to why they come to this decision. It's all done behind closed doors, which I don't like. I think it should be in public, if I'm honest. We should go down the road of cricket, rugby, where at least you hear, in cricket, you hear the third umpire talk about the decision, to go through the various angles. Now, people said with the angles that, oh yeah, the referee sees all the angles, but that's not necessarily true. And I listened to Keith Hackett said, and he said, the referee in the VAR room wants to show the angle to the referee that he thinks he should see. So, Lee Mason probably saw this incident on Saturday, but didn't show him the side angle, showed him the front angle. So, this is where the referee came to his decision. Now, I was going to share a couple of pictures here on screen. So, just have to...
Sorry, I'm back. Sorry, this is about that.
With me. Right. So, the first one I'm going to put on, I'm going back to last season on this one, first of all. This was an absolute nailed-on penalty, and it should have been given. So, here we go. Here's the first one. Edison on Ryan Fraser. Now, Cancelo took the ball, as we know, and when Edison took Fraser out, this was off the ball. But regardless if it's off the ball, now, the fourth official, the VAR ref that day was Craig Pawson, and the on-field ref was Martin Atkinson. Now, Martin Atkinson didn't give the penalty. Craig Pawson reviewed this and said, oh, no penalty, because it was off the ball. Now, I'm sorry, if that's off the ball, so you're telling me that, say, for instance, say Fabian Schär's got the ball and he's got the ball away from the keeper, so Nick Pope rushes out and takes, say, Haaland out, I bet that penalty will be given against us.
And a red card.
But because it's us, obviously they don't want to give us it. So
Exactly.
that's one conspiracy from last season, right? So I'll stop that one. I'll go to my next one, John.
Yes, please.
I bet it's the game at Liverpool, is it?
You are?
I bet it's the game at Liverpool where Fraser gets tackled again.
So the next one I've got is
Napoli 4.
Oh.
So this is Saturday's game against Palace. So on this game, Botman crosses the ball over. Now in this picture, you can see Willock's clearly going up for a header there.
Yeah.
So, so on looking at that angle, that's the ref. So the angle the referee got on Saturday was this angle here.
Yeah.
Now you can clearly see Willock has gone up for. You can see he's clearly gone up for the ball. He's going to header it.
Yeah.
And you can see Gaeta's looking as well. Now there's the ball. So Willock's thinking, if I jump now, by the time that ball reaches me, I've got a chance for the header. Whether it goes in the back of the net or Gaeta makes a cracking save from it. But either way, Willock is there going up for the header. So we go from that one to the next one. Bear with me. I'll get it on screen. So now we've got the side-on view. So after Tyreek Mitchell has actually pushed Willock in the back, which was all clear to see, and we all saw this. So you can see Willock's now gone from being up for a header. He's now on the side and crashed into Gaeta. The ball's now rebounding off Tyreek Mitchell, which is going in the back of the net. Now, in that instant, if the referee saw that side angle, this angle here, he would have seen the foul from Mitchell. Then he could have made one or two decisions. So he could have said, I've played advantage, the goal stands. End of it, and that's it. Or he could have said, no, I'll pull it back, penalty to Newcastle, and a yellow card for Mitchell, not a red card, because you've got Gaeta there.
Liverpool's just scored, by the way.
And then you've got this defender here covering. So because you've got two players covering, technically he can't be given a red card for that because it's not a red card offence, it's a yellow card offence. So had the referee had this angle, he would have clearly saw that Willock was actually pushed into Gaeta. So that again is another conspiracy. What they should be doing on VAR is saying, right, if this is what we're doing, if this is the angle that you can see, then what they should do on VAR is say, right, okay, the referee can have a look at every angle. If it takes 5 minutes for the referee to look at every angle and come to the correct decision, I'm all for that. I don't care, because I don't care if that 5 minutes is added on at the end. Because as long as the referees have come to the correct decision, but Michael Salisbury, who's only in his 7th game on Saturday, was hung out to dry by Lee Mason, because Lee Mason's been a referee in the Premier League for 16 years, and a referee with 16 years experience should know better than a referee who's only done 7 games. So what he should have said was to Michael Salisbury, I've got a side view, do you want to have a look at that as well? There's the side view, make your mind up what you want to do. Then Michael Salisbury might have saw that and thought, oh yeah, what do I do here? Do I see the goal or do I pull it back and give the penalty? More than likely, you play the advantage. If a team's going through on goal and somebody gets fouled, and sometimes the referees will hold their hands up, say play advantage, play on, and it might result in a goal. But that's what they should have done in the first instance. But obviously, Michael Salisbury didn't see that, and so Lee Mason put the doubt in his mind, and in panic, he thought, well, I don't want to look stupid, I don't want it to be a howler. He cancels the goal out. So that's another conspiracy we had. And the other one I'm going to show you from Saturday as well.
Big up Roy, by the way, Roy Cavani. Hope you're right, Roy.
And the other one from Saturday is, comes up. So this is the West Ham one. Now, another injustice for West Ham as well. So these are the two main decisions which should have been goals.
Lewis, let him speak. Sorry.
So you've got Jared Bowen here. And you've got Thiago Silva here and Mendy. So as a goalkeeper, what's happening there is Jared Bowen's trying to jump over the goalkeeper. Now, as I've previously said to you, John, I used to play as a goalkeeper, and I've had plenty of these knocks in the past when I've come out sliding out for a kick. So what Mendy's done here is he's doing what he does as a goalkeeper, which every goalkeeper does. He's come rushing out his goal, and he's pushed that ball away. And you've got to take into account that when Jared Bowen's trying to jump over him, that trailing leg may hit you, but it's not done in a malicious way. It's accidental. As I say, I've had a few knocks myself, so I know exactly what it's like, John. But the problem is, Mendy then decides, oh, I've been really kicked in the shoulder. Now I'm going to roll about the floor in agony and see what VAR do, because he knows, in a way, he's come rushing out, and he's got, once he's pushed that ball out, he knows there's no other players around there to clear it. So he's driving around in agony. Well, claiming he was in agony, but he wasn't. And so what he's doing there is he is then saying to the referee, I've been fouled. So VAR's looked at it, which is Jared Gillett. He's looked at it and he said to Andy Madley, go and check that, mate. He says, that's a foul. So the referee's gone over the monitor, had a look at it, thought, yeah, it is a foul. He's kicked him and he's in agony. He's on the floor.
Yeah.
But not long after that decision, he gets up Mendy and it's fine. So again, another injustice. So that goal should have stood as well. If you haven't seen it, go and watch the goal and you'll see what I mean. But that goal should have stood. So yeah, so they were right to admit that they got two big decisions wrong there. Our goal and West Ham's goal. And it's going to be interesting this weekend to see what happens in the West Ham game against us. But what else bothers me as well, John, is there's no consistency in this Premier League with referees, because Lee Mason's dropped this weekend, but Jared Gillett's refereeing the game. So hang on a minute. If one VAR referee's made a howler and another one's made a howler, then how comes both on suspended for this weekend? And bearing in mind, Jared Gillett is from Australia and was supposed to be one of the top referees in Australia, and he was supposed to be coming here to make our league better. But in fact, I think he's an absolute terrible referee.
Yeah, he is.
So I thought I would share them just to show you and give you a bit of an example of what was happening on the VARs. But yeah, two big injustices over the weekend, and then obviously that one from last season. But we've had a few with us as well, John, like the shirt pull against Wolverhampton Wanderers. That's a definite penalty on Longstaff in the box. I don't care if the defender's outside the box. He's got intent to stop Longstaff getting through. We've just had too many of them, John, and we've been robbed out of at least 9 points, if I'm honest. Don't know what anybody else's thoughts are on what I've spoken about there, but I think I've sort of give a bit of a detail on that.
Brilliant stuff. Thank you very much indeed. Lily, big up to you, Lily. Hope you're okay, mate. Thanks for joining in as well. I hope you're having a good day. She's loved to film my channel before. She knows the stuff as well. And Stevie B, careful language on here. Thank you very much, Steve. Try to become a mod, so just picking up on things. Listen in the morning, enjoy the stream, though. Thank you so much, and thank you for subscribing.
Well, I think Mason wants to speak.
Big up. Yeah, I mean, thanks for that, Tony. That's for a brilliant diagram, by the way. And it's too many. It's just Brad. What's your take on it, mate, about the VAR and also being stuffed again?
For me, I just think that some of the borderline decisions, they go either way, and some of them get right, some of them get wrong. But the ones that I don't agree with is these clear decisions that happen, and 99.9% of the world knows that it's what the decision is, yet the referee decides to go with the other. It just really makes you wonder. Just really makes you wonder, like, what the hell, what's going through the mind sometimes, and what the decision process is. That's why it'd just be helpful to know sometimes when it's really like that. What are the conversations that are happening? What's making them believe that? What made them believe that was a foul against Willock? I don't know. What? I would love to know, because everyone that's seen it just knows that was it's there. It's clear as day. He's pushing it to the goalkeeper. So I just don't know. And the same as the one with the West Ham game as well. That was even worse, arguably. It probably was. How on earth are they making these decisions? And I don't think VAR is a bad thing as a whole, because sometimes there's been a lot of opportunity. There's been a lot of times where there's been a bit of a mistake and it's been looked at and the right decision's been came to. That's great, but I think it's been overused sometimes to try and, if something happens, then it's almost like the second guessing the referee and, we better have a look at this, we better make sure, instead of trusting the referee's decision and going with it and just sticking with that his original feeling, which is usually right. So I think sometimes they can go to it and then look at it too much and then come to a completely stupid decision that just makes no sense. So let's be honest, sometimes you're on the wrong end of it. Sometimes you get something and maybe you come away quite fortunate. So unfortunately, we've been on the wrong end of it a few times this season. Could have easily been the other way. We could have benefited from it. You just don't know. But it shouldn't be like that. It shouldn't have to be that way. It should be more consistent. Where these, let's be honest. At the end of the day, there's always going to be controversial decisions, but things like that to me just makes absolutely no sense. How those goals were disallowed this weekend. Just, I don't know what the answer is. I think it's just the officials, whether they streamline the system where if they don't look at the screen for certain things as much, or the referees and the new up and coming referees, they need investment and education into the. I think it's the way it is at the moment. It just needs to be used properly. Everything's there. It was supposed to be brought in, so the right decisions were made. Most of 99.9% of the time, but it's just causing too many controversial decisions, is the way, in my opinion. So let's just hope that the last weekend was a real warning sign, and they've took it on board, and it's going to change from now going forward, because there's been a lot of evidence. The Premier League's just been a bad example, because like Tony said as well, you see all the other leagues, it seems to be working pretty well, and internationally it seemed to be fine. So is it probably to do with the officials in the Premier League? The evidence would probably say yes, but that's something they can work on and bring them up to speed. So I'm confident that they can really. Last weekend was the turning point, and it should get better.
Can I say a suggestion? Because obviously I watch Formula One. They have the FIA, but that's straight in Switzerland, and the FIA headquarters in Switzerland. They do all the calls from there. Sure, they could do something. Whether they have other referees, like what they do in the Champions League, they have from other leagues and that. Why not get them in the VR room for the Premier League? At least they get to say the European side of it. And then at least we get decisions what might work out better in a way.
Yeah.
It works in Formula One now when they have the FIA doing it from Switzerland. There's no arguing, and the teams bosses don't go to the FIA and complain. Should have seen that's the wrong decision, blah 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 blah, like stuff like that.
Yeah. I think that's the fair shout. Go on, Tony.
Yeah, I mean, there's been a thing out as well that apparently the FIFA have already listed like VAR officials for the World Cup, and they have not picked one English referee at all, as they have said they are not good enough to be on VAR in the World Cup. So And they said the only two decent referees that we have in the league is Michael Oliver and Anthony Taylor. Anthony Taylor's doing a Champions League match, so is Michael Oliver. And the VAR for Anthony Taylor is a German referee. But you see what I think as well, John, why can't we bring the top referees in, say from Holland, Portugal, France, Italy, maybe just for 1 week and say, right, okay, one game a week or something like that, and just say, right, come on into our league. Now, that might show our referees up at how good these referees are from abroad, because we're currently shown we ain't got a good enough set of referees in this country. You can go back a few years in the Premier League to a referee called Andy Durso. I don't know if you ever remember him.
Yeah, I can remember him.
Now, at Premier League level, he was absolutely shocking. But when he went to the Championship, he was the best referee in the Football League. But he just couldn't referee at Premier League level. And he's like some players, say we've had players at Newcastle where we'll say, well, they're not good enough for the Premier League, but they're better suited in the Championship. And some referees are like that. They're not good enough in the Premier League, but put them in the Championship and they succeed better. So it's just trying to get that balance right, you see. And, I know it's not a easy job to referee, but maybe the other thing around it as well, and what Shearer's actually said, which I quite agree with, is ex-players should be there in the VAR doing that as well. So maybe what you could have is you could have an ex-player in VAR with an assistant VAR referee. So then the VAR ref can say to the ex-player, oh, what about this decision? Do you think that's right? And then the ex-player might say, well, actually, no, if you put that angle there, that's better. And then they can bounce off each other and come to their own conclusions. But, it's a balancing act. But there is nothing wrong with the VAR system. It's the people in this country who are running it. And Mike Riley is just the one at the top of the chain who hasn't got a clue. And, it's just a total injustice when they're coming out to us and they're saying, oh, yeah, sorry, we got it wrong about your goal on Saturday. But we won't say them extra 2 points now. We've been robbed of that. The same with West Ham. They've been robbed of a point. Chelsea got 3 points. And they shouldn't have got that 3 points. It should have been 1 point each. So, they say things even ourselves out, but not with VAR. It does not over a season. I'm sorry. It used to, before VAR was in, things used to even ourselves out over a season. But VAR will never even itself out over a season at all. Yes, we've had some decisions for us, like the Trippier red card was reduced to yellow. Yeah. That had to be reduced to yellow because Trippier did not do a red card challenge. But then you go to Saturday's game, Van Dijk, that bad tackle that he done on the Everton player. How do you get away with that? How is that not a red card? It's double standards. It's a conspiracy. It's the cartel again, John, and that's exactly what it is. And last season we got a hell of a run against VAR with decisions last season, and it seems to be carrying on again this season.
It's corrupt, Tony. It's corrupt. And I'll tell you what as well, they got it in for us all the time. Everyone knows that. And I just don't think it's going to change anytime soon, to be fair, unless they wake up and smell the coffee. Do you know what I mean? Then it's going to happen soon. Chippers, I know, do you agree with Tony? Because I do.
Yeah. I agree with it. I was just saying, I thought Mason wanted to speak a while ago because he was keep gesturing. I didn't know if you wanted to speak. I don't know.
Yeah.
Go for it, mate.
Obviously, going back to the penalty, like the incident for us against Crystal Palace, I'm surprised not one player seen the ball hit Tyreek Mitchell's arm.
It hit his shoulder. It's not classed as a handball then.
But usually you see players say to the referee, "Oh, it's hit him." But I'm surprised nobody's seen that. I thought, is somebody going to say it here? But you've not one player said anything. They were just all of them were just concentrated on the incident between Guaita and Willock. I don't know what your thoughts are about that, but I'm just saying it.
Yeah, that should have been a goal, by the way. It should have been a goal. I mean, they didn't check on all angles, so they checked on one angle, and that's it. I mean, they should have checked on other angle as well. They would have kept the goal standing. But end of the day, I mean, against corrupt Mason, it's just an absolute joke. It really is. I just don't get it.
I think as well, though, John, when Vieira at the end of the match comes out and says that what the ref made, the VAR made the right decision, he needs to look at himself and say, well, yeah, I mean, I'm defending Palace, but I got that wrong myself as well because it was a blatant. I mean, he came out and practically said that the ref was right. Now I was thinking, well, was he? The way I see it, it was a legitimate goal, and you're just digging your own grave because you play, obviously, you're a Palace manager instead of saying, well, if that happened to me, I would be annoyed as well. So, I don't think his choice of words were wrong.
I think Vieira needs to be careful. I like him, but he needs to be careful what he's saying because you've got to be joking. You've got to be joking. And he's only started to defend the players. How way, Patrick? Wake up and swallow the coffee, mate. Premier League, the best league in the world? Not a chance. What an embarrassment. And it's early match day one.
I mean, John, can I just... There's just two above Foxy's comment. Alan McMurty says it's not just bad refs, not conspiracy. The Wolves game, they would have sent off Shaw and allowed Wolves a second goal. Now, do you think Shaw got away with that because they realised they cocked up in the first half when Longstaff had his shirt pulled? So was that one of them where they thought, oh, hang on, that should have been a penalty, and they've realised at half time. And then when Shaw's done that tackle, they've thought, oh no, we'll just keep it a yellow card because we've made one mistake already.
Yeah, it could be that. I think he's trying to even it out, sort of thing. I mean, look, if Longstaff didn't get a penalty and Shaw got sent off on a tackle, then it would have been the perfect corrupt ever I've seen. I'm sure the Premier League is telling these referees keep an eye on Newcastle, don't give me anything. Do you know what I mean? And you know what it is, right? I mean, it's working to a T. It's working to a flipping T at the minute. I mean, it cost us 9 points, and we would have been top of the table. But we said it all the time. Once this red comes in, right, and get rid of Mike Riley, then things could be a lot better. I mean, the referees need to up their game, and they maybe look over their shoulder. If you get it wrong, off you go.
I think Howard Webb will do a great job when he comes in, and I hope he does. And I hope he gives these lot a good kick up the backside because most of them need it, I tell you now. And you need to get rid of the likes of Mike Dean and Lee Mason, I'm sorry, because at the end of the day, if they're not good enough on VAR, they've clearly said that. I mean, Mike Dean, that hair pull on Cucurella, that should have been that was a foul, and that should have been probably a red card.
Yeah, because
Mike Dean clearly missed that. And like I say, the same with Lee Mason on Saturday. He's missed a call as well. So, it's just these referees, if they're retiring from refereeing on the field, they should be retired altogether.
Yeah. Like, as Tony was saying, a hair pull should be a red card. Like, in rugby, if you pull somebody's hair, it's a red card in rugby. Surely they could implement the same rule into football. Like, you could, come on, everything goes against, like, the smaller teams. Like, as per usual, it's like the London teams, the big six, get away with it. We don't because we're Newcastle.
Yeah, fair shot, Lewis. Just thinking there's not remembering back to F instant for making a call. Brad.
John, can I just say I've got to go? Because my mum just went to bed, so I'm going to shoot.
No problem. Thanks for coming in, Sam, anyway, mate. And take care.
See you soon.
Yeah.
Take care. Right.
Mate, take care. That's Sam on his way to look after his mum. Bless him. And I would have done the same if I was on a different show as well. Just a bit of breaking news as well. Graham Potter's offered the Chelsea job, and he could be in charge for the Fulham match on Saturday. So Graham Potter has been offered the Chelsea job. See how quick it goes. When you get rid of a manager, you get one in as quickly as possible. It works in Europe, but it doesn't seem to work here at all, doesn't it? Got one for Alan. Too much thinking. I think I've read that, by the way, because other clubs are affected by VAR. Last weekend, we had a nationwide discussion by VAR. when it was a discussion for the previous 5 weeks when it was mainly Newcastle as victims, and we still are victims, by the way. We really, really are. And it's just, we'll come on to that one. Cut your hair, that's all the issue. Steve, thank you, Steve. See, bad decisions goes against the big clubs. Also, that's from Paul, man. I mean, stick up first, man. All the men in the leagues and the top 4 struggle for Sestino, Instagram, Napoli, Marseille with 10 men. All average teams. Only Man City will represent the Prem well this season. I think Napoli are not an average team at all. So I think Napoli are a decent team after Spalletti. So they've got some good players there, by the way, as well. And Victor Osimhen needs to take his penalties a lot better as well. Well, you go on to Saturday's game, on Sunday's game against West Ham United at London Stadium. I'll start with Tony. How do you think the game's going to go? And what's the predictions going to be?
I think it'll be a tough game, John, and I think it's going to be full of incident. And, I think VAR and the referees are going to be under intense scrutiny on Sunday as well, rather. So I do think it's going to be a tough game. But we do have a good record down at West Ham. Don't forget, we have one down there quite a bit at the London Stadium. Last season we got a draw. Under Bruce, we got a 2-0 win when Wilson and Jeff Hendricks scored. One of Jeff Hendricks' goals, which you don't see many of them. So we ain't got a bad record down there. Now, in terms of scoreline, it depends who's playing. If Bruno and Maxi are back, then that makes a huge difference and helps Isak out as well, because technically when you've got the likes of Murphy and Fraser, Isak's not getting that service, and as you saw on Saturday, I mean, I was at the other end of the ground, but when I saw that run, the thing is, if he had just shot that left or right, I think he just tried to chip the keeper. I don't think he realised he had as much time as he thought. So maybe he had too much time on his hands. But if he had put left or right, probably would have scored. So, but I'm not criticising the guy, by the way, if anybody's wondering. So at the end of the day, I fancy Isak to get a goal on Sunday. And I think once he starts scoring, I think he'll go on a run. But he just needs that little bit extra help and bit of service. Mm-hmm. If you've got that bit of service and quality to give him, then boom, he'll be flying. So if Maxi and Bruno are back, I'm going to say a 2-1 win for us. Because, as I say, we've got a good record down at West Ham. And considering last season we were struggling and we were just trying to grind out results to just stay up, this season's totally different because we've got bigger ambitions this season. We want to try and force into that top 6. And why can't we get into that top 6? That's the thing. The only thing that's stopping me getting that top 6 is some of these VAR decisions we've had against us. So I'm going to go for a 2-1 win, John, to us as well. And that's what I'm going to do. Go for 2-1.
2-1. That's a good assessment there, mate. I totally agree. Let's go on to Brad. How do you think this game's going to be, and what do you think the score is going to be?
I think it's going to be a tough game. I'm going to have to go. I think it'll be another point for us, to be honest. It's going to have to be a hard point. West Ham are a good side at home, usually, and to be honest, it all depends what we've got. If Bruno and Maxi are back, we can maybe sneak the win. But I think if we go with the team that played Palace, we're more than good enough to get a well thought out point there. Just because we've we will go there and create chances, but West Ham will put us under a bit of pressure as well. So hopefully it'll be quite a good game to watch. Two fairly positive sides that will have a sort of go for it, which will be better to see. So no, I think coming away with the point there should be more than happy because we've got some favourable home games coming up. So we just need to, if we can come away from West Ham and not lose, then we've got a lot of momentum going into them home games and really looking to start picking up some wins.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm going to go for 1-1. 1-1, I think.
1-1. Fair enough. Lewis?
But I just checked. They do play tomorrow night as well in the Europa Conference League. That might tie them out as well. But I think if Wales plays a fit, and plus they just played a couple of nights before, they might be tight. I think we could win 2-1 or 3-1. But I think there'll be loads of forward decisions.
Yeah, fair enough. What's the score's going to be, mate?
2-1 or 3-1.
2-1 or 3-1. Okay. We've got Conor Mason, got one Stevenson. That he'd be happy to have a very experienced manager in his eyes. Alan saying we'll give up now. We feel like as you're seeing, what's the point? Fox saying Napoli's not a top team. Drawn at home versus the likes of Lecce. They're a solid team that won't challenge for the title. Permanent teams spend hundreds of millions and should be losing 4-1. They should not be losing 4-1 to Napoli as well. 6 bad VAR decisions against Newcastle. That's 1 a game so far over a season. That would be devastating. I agree with you 100%. Again, VAR decisions, Joey, Miggy, Willock, and Isak all should have scored. If we want to get back in the top 6, we need to score more. And that's 4-4. Spurs are goal up, by the way. Just scored. Barca 5-1 Munich 2 at Inter Milan. And let's go on to Lewis. Same with you, mate.
What? You just asked me?
No, sorry, Mason. I do apologise.
Right
back. Sorry.
That's fine.
Obviously, Sunday, we'll have a bit of an advantage because obviously West Ham play tomorrow, so they'll have like less recovery time, more recovery but less training. But they've still got a decent squad. They've recruited well in the summer. Obviously, players to watch out for has to be Paqueta, Emerson, but Bowen, players like that. Samaka as well. I mean, obviously, you've said it before. The VAR are basically not giving us the advantage because, like us and West Ham, because we've recruited well, and we've recruited well. Like they've got more players than us, but we've still recruited well with like the players we've brought in both sides. But there's just jealousy. That's what it is. Jealousy between us and West Ham because the players we've brought in are quality. We've spent big. And obviously, my goal scoring prediction on Saturday will be 1-1 because something's going to happen. Something might happen, something might not happen. But I just feel sorry for obviously Newcastle and West Ham for the VAR decisions what keep going on this season. I feel sorry for them because it's pure jealousy. Because outside the top 6, we're the two clubs that have spent really, really well, and we've got quality players in the squads.
Yeah, that's fair enough. I'm going for, I said 3-2 to Newcastle. I'd go by that. I think there'll be goals in this game. Yes, I think it's going to be tight, but I think goals will come in. And look, if you get ASM back and Bruno back, and we'll be fine. I think you're going to win the game. But if we don't, then we're going to have to do the best we can. And 3-2 to Newcastle, and I'll go along with that. Should be a cracking game at London Stadium. We don't normally lose at the London Stadium, by the way, but we're doing our eat there. But we drew the last time once each. We drew Willock. I think he loves playing there as well. So we're going to wrap up the show, by the way, guys. Thanks very much for joining in, by the way. Go on, Tony.
Yeah, I'm just going to share a couple of things on screen quickly for you. This is the first one. Yeah. So Nottingham Forest again. Serge Aurier has now joined them on a free move, and it's been signed on deadline day, and it's now completed. That's from Fabrizio Romano. And also from Fabrizio as well. Positive talks between Chelsea and Graham Potter. He's expected to be appointed the new manager of Chelsea FC. Those close to Pochettino also expect Potter to sign with Chelsea this week. Brighton manager was always the first choice there. And on the Premier League, now let's have a look at the goalkeepers. And guess who's top of the league? Nick Pope, with Pickford and Raya in joint second.
Brilliant.
So there you go. Pope is the top keeper in the Premier League at the moment.
I tell you what, though, he's done a wonderful job in a minute coming in, like his first season Newcastle, and he's done really well.
He'll be first choice now, John, for England because Pickford's now out. So for the Germany and Italy game, I can't see Nick Pope not starting them 2 games because, well, not being funny, he's the top England goalkeeper.
Yes, absolutely. I think Nick Pope's having a fantastic season, man. I think he's going to get better and better all the time.
Yeah,
and that's it.
And that's Pickford's out injured.
Yeah, Edison's bottom of that list as well.
Exactly. Wow.
Even Ramsdale's above him. Yeah, I just hope we don't pick. I hope you don't pick Ramsdale because no disrespect, Ramsdale is not England quality. I'm sorry.
Not yet, to be fair. He is good, but not yet. But see what happens on that. Last season, we said we have brought already relegation. Forest are doing something similar. Yeah, I tell you what, though, I think Forest, me personally, I think they might just stay up, in my opinion. And if they do, they're actually a big club getting relegated this season. Well, guys, thanks for coming on anyway, and I really appreciate that as well. And if you want to find Tony, it's at Tony2031. He'll follow you back. Brad is Brad on BP on NUFC. Lewis is on Facebook. Are you on Twitter as well, Lou?
Well, I do have Twitter, but that's just for like random stuff. I am on Facebook. People can just add me in if like they want to.
Fair enough.
After this, I will send you a friend request, by the way.
Please do. Thank you very much.
I will.
Appreciate that. And Mason, you're on Twitter, and there's Mason Ford, isn't it? Mason Ford, and you're on Twitter.
Yes, John.
Big up. And if you find me on all the links in the description, it's down there. If you'd like to subscribe, please click on the subscribe button. Also hit the like button. And if you'd like to support the channel by super chatting, then click on the $sign, also on the thanks option as well. If you'd like to become a member, then click on the join button. So it's 99p, and I'll be doing some more competitions as well. So it'll be bye to I Like Coffee. Thanks, man. Big up to Steve. Good night to you. Thumbs up to Alan, and bye to John as well. I'll be back tomorrow for the match preview. I'm going to try and get James Anvil, the West Ham United fan, get him on as well to do a match preview with Tony. And I should see you then. We just tick on as well. Alan, thanks, mate. Thanks, Chris. And I should say it's goodbye for now. And thanks for watching the Fans Forum.
See you guys.